Wow, that was inspiring. I'm not even trying to be funny. I'm not even joking. That was inspiring. Phoenix Suns' new owner, governor, whatever you want to title it, Mat Ishbia. It is a new day for Phoenix Suns and Phoenix Mercury basketball. And I cannot say this enough that was inspiring. So what we're going to be doing here, my fellow subscribers, fellow Suns Geeks, fans, whatever, we are going to just be kind of recapping some key takeaways, some thoughts, quotes, if you will. I was typing away with some important things that I thought were worth mentioning and talking about. Later in the show, like in a little bit here, we're going to be having on one of my longest friends, someone I've known for many, many years, a diehard, super Suns fan. Like, you guys think I'm a super Suns fan. My guest here is one of the biggest Suns fans I've ever met. And really excited to have him on. And it's going to be a great show. So even if you're watching later, get active in the comments, destroy that like button, Hulk smash that like button, share the stream, tell people about Suns Geek. That's the best way you can support this channel. Shout out to my guy, Roy. Appreciate you being here, brother. Thank you, Lindsay, for being here. Coda Kid, thank you for being here. Aussie Suns Fans Podcast. Go check them out. I've been on their show before. Great guys over there. Shout out to them. Shout out to my guy, Super Mario Hoops. Shout out to my guy, Nico. He says, love the Sarver out shirt. You guys are awesome. Thanks for being here. All right, guys. So before I bring my guest on here, actually, let me get to this real quick. Shout out to my guy, Roy, $5 super chat. You totally didn't have to do that, but I'm grateful you did that. First dono, as a Suns fan tomorrow, it's going to be Christmas. That kind of segues into what I kind of want to talk about. When I say that this is a new day, an exciting, inspiring day for Phoenix Suns fans and Phoenix Mercury fans, I know that there's some passionate Phoenix Mercury fans out there. I feel like you guys all should be inspired by this. Now, I understand we don't know what Mat Ishbia is going to do, what our roster is going to look like, what the Phoenix Mercury's roster, that's a conversation for later. But the way that Mat Ishbia was talking about winning, being involved in the community, he said something along the lines of, like, this isn't just a Phoenix Suns thing, this is a Phoenix Mercury thing. You know, he kept repeating, like, he's a very hands-on kind of owner, getting the fans excited, getting his employees excited, which I'm going to talk about that later with my guest. And Mat Ishbia, look, I've never obviously met the guy. Who knows? He just seems like a really good employer, a really good boss, a really good manager, a great owner. And if that's how he's going to be running these franchises, I think we should all be excited. There was just some really inspiring things. And I have my Twitter pulled up because I was like kind of live tweeting, if you will. And one of the first quotes that I took down was two quotes actually. Mat Ishbia said, and I quote, "My life has been completely tied to basketball. Nothing gets done alone. It's always a team game." And I 110% believe in that. And I feel like that's how Mat Ishbia is going to run the Phoenix Suns, the Phoenix Mercury, how he's going to run his employees. It's an exciting day, Suns fans. And don't worry, we're going to talk about the Isaiah Thomas stuff later. But just so you know, no, Isaiah Thomas right now is not going to be joining the Phoenix Suns staff, management, whatever. So calm down, Suns Twitter. So what we're going to do now, you guys, is we are going to bring on, like I mentioned, a longtime Suns fan, one of my oldest friends. I want to say I've known my friend Steve here for since maybe 2005, if not sooner. And again, you guys, when I say that he is a super Suns fan, I'm not even joking. He also just recently started live streaming video games and started up his own YouTube channel. So I'm going to let him introduce himself, tell you guys how long he's been a Suns fan for. And I'm going to give the floor to my good friend, Thunder Steve 85. Steve, how you doing, man?
What's up, man? Good to see you. Thanks for having me on today. I've actually been wanting to kind of joining this show for a long time, and today just worked out. So I'm happy to be here. It's such a momentous day. Obviously, we have a new owner, and in my time as a Suns fan, this only happened obviously a couple times. We had Jerry, and we had, of course, Sarver, and now we get Matt. There's a lot to talk about, but to introduce myself to you guys, I'm an Arizona native, lifelong Suns fan, born in '85, been here, a long time, going on 40 years pretty soon here. And I've been a Suns fan since '92. So I was 7 years old. My heart was broken, I'm sure, along with many of you, many of the Valley. We'll never forget the '92, '93 team, the John Paxson shot, the whole story. It lives with all of us. And so I've been a fan for that long. Growing up, I didn't miss any games. I used to go to like Walgreens or Best Buy back in the day, and I'd pick up 10 packs of VHS tapes. So when I would go to like basketball practice, or if I had something as a kid that I had to do and there was no way out of it, I could record on VHS. And
Yeah.
then as time went on, we went to TiVo, then we went to DVR.
TiVo, I haven't heard that word in a long time.
Dude. Well, I bought TiVo back in the day, so I wouldn't miss Suns games. So
Right.
point is that I live and breathe Suns. I have a Phoenix Suns tattoo that I got
can confirm
after,
that too. I can confirm that.
yes. And I got the tattoo right before, about 2 months before we got Nash. And if you guys remember, I think that season we had 24 wins, if I recall, just off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Someone probably can.
I know we were pretty bad back then. Yeah, we were.
But it was awful, guys. It was awful. It was a dark period. It was after we traded Marbury to Nets.
Yep.
Yeah, and we just kind of blew up the team. So that's a little background on me as a Suns fan. And then, I would say that I worked 10 years in the restaurant business, worked in management. I went around to different locations to fix them. And obviously I know what it takes when it comes to being a team player. A lot of the stuff Matt said truly hit home.
Preach.
And outside of that, my last 8 years, I worked in the mortgage industry as a director of operations for the second largest private lender in the United States, which is Loan Depot. So like you have to understand teamwork. You have to live and breathe it and be genuine about it. And I can tell without a doubt that he is genuine about this. So that makes me super excited. I took a ton of notes. There's a lot of things that I'm excited about to talk about today.
Absolutely. Well done, Steve. Thank you again so much for being here. And especially with that last part, that's another reason why I'm glad I got you on here. Somebody that actually knows the business, which Mat Ishbia is in. And we're going to talk about that later. He kind of referenced that, yeah, he is the Phoenix Suns owner, but he's going to be in Michigan taking care of his company and his employees. Wow. Like, I feel like I'm going to get a little repetitive here, but not in a bad way, because that's just what Mat Ishbia was preaching about. So I'm just going to kind of go on to a couple more quotes. First off, he did bring up his brother, Justin. Seems like a very nice guy. Seems like they have been very close. He had his whole family there. He mentioned his ex-wife, his 3 kids, his mom, or whoever was all there. It was a packed crowd there. And one thing I liked personally was he's like, I'm not really a podium guy. I love that. Like, I wish he would have just started grabbing the mic and just walking around, but he was really good, man. I thought he did a very good job of just welcoming everybody there and, acknowledging the media. He seemed very polite and everything. So again, I'm kind of just scrolling through my notes here. And one thing his brother said, and I quote, "Matt and I are fans. We just want to win." And then Mat Ishbia later on said, "You can't win without happy people. You can't win if people don't care." So, Steve, kind of like how you were referencing your job history, and I'm sure I've told you, like, you've known where I've worked over the years. So I've had tons of jobs, Fry's, Albertsons, Champ Sports, Walmart, and I've told all my subscribers this too. Like I've worked everywhere.
Yeah.
Currently have a part-time job in childcare, which I absolutely love. And look, just probably like with you, I'm assuming that I've had some really bad bosses and I've had some really great bosses, people that I'm still friends with till this day and that I truly love. And it's true, man. Like if your employees don't care, your company's probably going to fail. And when he said that, I was like, preach, Matt, preach. Like he just seems like such a hands-on guy. And I will never forget his first game in attendance. He was walking around, and anybody that would stop him, he actually stopped for a minute and spoke to them, took pictures with them. That is freaking awesome, dude. And look, again, the whole basketball stuff and rosters and all that comes later, but like just the impact he's already kind of making, and I can't reference this enough, the way he was talking about the community and the Phoenix Mercury and getting involved and the fan experience, it's going to be some pretty exciting stuff. So again, we got so much to talk about here, but any takeaways from what I said or anything that stood out to you, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll tell you, I took a lot of notes here just because a lot of this stuff like really hit home. It's not just because I'm home trying to rapidly type everything he said. I was actually able to remember some of the things he said because he was speaking so fast, but it's
I know, I was trying to get it all down too, dude.
That's a mortgage thing, by the way. Any mortgage executives,
that's why you're the expert here.
Yeah, that I hang out with, they talk so fast. It's not even funny, dude. It's wild.
I would fail.
Slow down,
if I had
man.
to take notes, I would fail and get fired so fast.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, you just got to like try and filter out. Okay, they just said a lot of stuff. What was the main thing here? I'm going to write this down because there's no way I'm going to keep up. But yeah, just some of the things here that I really liked is he says, I'm not the owner, I'm the steward.
Ding, ding, ding.
Huge.
Yep.
Huge. It ain't about me. That's one thing that throughout the whole press conference, he made super clear that this isn't about me, man. This isn't the Mat Ishbia show, right?
Facts.
This is the Phoenix Suns. And if we're going to do something special, which, as he alluded to often, we are, it's going to be a team thing. It's going to be the employees here. It's going to be the community, the family, the Phoenix Suns family, And as fans, we're all an extension of the Suns family.
Yep.
We really are. I mean, you may not think so, but think about it. The Suns are always there for us, right?
Yes, sir.
Every time, October, November rolls around, they're with us.
Yeah.
So it's cool, man. But some of the notes here is 4 focuses that I really liked. The first focus he had was it starts with our people here, culture. And he said it's all because of our people that we have. He says we just have better people. That's how we became the best mortgage company. Treat them so well that they never want to leave.
Amen.
Mm-hmm. And I actually put in my notes, I should go work here.
Right.
Because, I'll tell you what, that was a lot of like the motto at Loan Depot when I first started working there. And I got to know our owner pretty well, actually.
Right.
And it changed over time, unfortunately. And sometimes things like that happen. But Matt's been over there at UWM, which I'm super familiar with the mortgage company. They are very well respected in the mortgage industry. When I heard Mat Ishbia wanted to buy the team, I'm like, what? Really? Mortgage guy? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Because I've heard such good things about the culture there.
Right.
The culture, everyone knows, like you guys all know, any place you've worked, right? The culture is key.
Yep.
I've always said I could be literally like scrubbing toilets, man. But if it's got a good culture and I'm working with good people, that's what really matters. That's what keeps people around at their job, is working with people that you enjoy. So if you like the person you get to sit next to every day at work, you might end up working there for 10 years and you don't even notice 10 years have went by. So that's key. And we need that here. You guys know that, especially with what's happened. Right, Brandon?
Absolutely. That's another thing too. Like when I'm at a job, like I've never been a manager. I've never held the manager title at any job. but I've also had the experience to sort of hold that title. Like when the manager's out, I'm in charge. And one thing I love at any job I've ever been at is if my manager, for as you reference, is willing to clean the toilets, then I should do it as well. Or, when I worked at grocery stores, push the carts, or even in childcare, like maybe deal with that difficult student who's having a hard time. You know what I mean? Then I should do that as well. And again, it's all about culture. If your boss or manager or whoever, whatever the title is willing to step up first and do the dirty work, get their hands dirty. And Mat Ishbia referenced, he's going to be very hands-on.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to, quote, roll up his sleeves. I love that, by the way. He also talked about how he wants to learn and he wants to get to know people and listen. He says something, and again, we're going to talk about this later, but he says something like, I'm going to be like, listening to people. We're not going to bring anybody on right away. He's like, I want to get to know the staff that's here, the employees, et cetera, et cetera. And I was going to talk about this later, but he said something along the lines of like, and I think I tweeted it out. He said, so he referenced his 7K employees that he has for his mortgage company or whatever it is, and how he talks to everybody, including the security guards. And I tweeted out, probably safe to say he's going to do this with the Phoenix Suns as well, their employees, security guards, etc. I love that. Like, again, that's how a boss should be, especially a new owner who just bought the team. Again, as you mentioned, this is something that does not happen every single day. It's not like this is a new head coach or something. This is the owner, the governor, whatever you want to title it, of the Phoenix Suns and the Phoenix Mercury, two huge franchises. So this is pretty big, man. I don't really know where I was going with all this, but also go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say I could pick up with it because I got a few points to make based on what you said. But the number one thing that when you're mentioning when your boss, your manager would be willing to like, hey, clean the toilet, push the carts, this and that. We always call that leading by example.
Exactly.
And you don't see that very often in this day and age. People who are willing to do what the so-called work or the employees doing. They're not willing to do it. They're not willing to roll up their sleeves. Some of them don't even know how to do it. They won't admit it, but they don't even know how to do it, which is sad.
Facts.
But man, just everything he said is
inspiring.
It rings true. Yeah, it truly is inspiring. And one thing he said that I really like, Gerald Bourget had a question, and he's obviously been a long time Suns guy.
Yeah.
He said, there's a report about Isaiah Thomas last night, and I'm sure you'll get into that. But I just wanted to give the answer that he said. One thing he said here is, I'm a mortgage guy, but I love basketball. And over the next 90 to 120 days is about listening and learning.
Yep.
And to me, that really rang true because when I was a restaurant manager, the company wouldn't move me. Like I actually lived in San Diego for a little bit, Monterey, California, because they moved me around. And my director at the time would give me a list of problems at each location. And some of them were vague, guys, like culture. No joke. It was on the list. Turnover. Why do we have constant turnover? This and that. And when I'd show up at the location, everyone knew why I was there. And so employees would come up to me. I don't even know.
Right.
Big, hey, like, are you here to fire all of us and stuff like that?
And we got problems X, Y, and Z, right?
Yeah, absolutely not. And I always told everyone, I don't do that.
Right.
When I go to each location, I take about 2 to 3 months to do the same thing Matt said. Listen and learn. I don't make any moves. No one gets fired. I'm here to actually see how the operation is ran.
Exactly.
Learn what's going on.
Undercover boss.
And then form my own opinion on how we're going to fix it. Right. And I did this at 6 different locations successfully. So when Matt says this, I'm like, dude, that is perfect.
Right.
Like, this is what we need.
Exactly.
You don't go in there and start firing people and using your power.
Exactly.
This is great.
See, and again, man, like this is a whole nother conversation for another time, but I feel like if more companies ran their businesses or fast food or childcare program, whatever it is, the way that Mat Ishbia does, or at least appears that he does, I feel like the world would be a happier place. That's another conversation for another time.
Absolutely.
Um, if you want, we can segue into this. We can kind of address, I guess, the elephant in the room, which is the Isaiah Thomas stuff. And my apologies, I should have given you like a rundown of how this was going to go, but let's kind of segue into the Isaiah Thomas stuff real quick. Calm down, Phoenix Suns fans. Isaiah Thomas is not joining the Phoenix Suns. And someone had to tweet me, of course, and say, yet. He's not joining the Phoenix Suns yet. So you probably, I don't know if you did write down the quotes, but when it was referenced a second time, Mat Ishbia pretty much, well, the first time he shot it down. And he said, Isaiah Thomas isn't joining us. We have no plans for that, yada, yada, yada. But the second time, he said a little bit, I don't have the full quote, but he was
I
like,
got it.
Go ahead.
So the last question was when there was that follow-up question about Isaiah right at the end. He wanted some more clarity, the reporter. And he said, Matt said there's no role for him at this time. And he even said, which I thought was funny, I mean, there could be a role open for you.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, which was great. And he says, he's like, are you leaving this role open for him? Like maybe in the future? And Matt said, again, he says, I have no plans. There could be a role for you here in the future.
Exactly.
He has no plans until he evaluates
Yep.
what he's got. So
that's what I was going to say. Like pretty much everybody submit your resumes, file your applications and everything, because it looks like Mat Ishbia is going to hire the best people for the job. And I'm not even joking. I really feel like that could be true. I mean, obviously there's lots of things that go into that, but yeah, Mat Ishbia seems like he kind of referenced that too. He feels like he wants the best people qualified for the job. And everybody probably does that anyways, all these GMs and owners and whatever. But I kind of get that vibe. And you said a key word, evaluate. He's definitely going to take the time to see what the front office is looking like, his employees, even the players, even maybe coaches, who knows? And look, I'm not saying he's going to come in here, with an axe and start cutting everybody off that he doesn't like, but I feel like he is going to bring in the right people. And I cannot reference the fact that he said, like we want happy people here. We want people that care here, which, that could lead into some player talk later. I mean, if players aren't, think of the Greg Popovich. I hate to reference the Spurs, but think of the Greg Popovich approach. If he doesn't like you, dude, you're off the team. That's not a joke. He will trade you. And I'm not saying Mat Ishbia is going to do that, but I kind of get that vibe a little bit. But that was a really big quote, in my opinion. Just how he wants to come in here and look at things, listen and evaluate. That's why the next couple of months leading into the playoffs, definitely headed into the off season, are going to be, I feel like we should overreact to some things that are going to happen, but not at this, Mat Ishbia, like you said, he's a fan, dude. He's going to watch. He's going to be at every game for the most part. And it's going to be interesting, man. By the way, he did reference that he does live in Michigan. He's got employees and a company to run. But I guarantee, dude, this guy's a gazillionaire. He's going to be in Phoenix all the damn time. So that's going to be pretty interesting. Any thoughts on that or takeaways?
Yeah, it makes sense to me, of course, that like he's gonna be still living in Michigan just because he's such a family man.
Yeah,
You can tell that's really clear. And like when you have roots down with your family, you don't want to just get up and move them if you don't have to. And he doesn't have to because he has a very successful business.
Right.
Obviously, one successful enough to allow him to purchase the Phoenix Suns for what was it $4 billion? He referenced $4 billion.
Yeah.
But obviously it was close enough, right? His long-term approach I liked.
Right.
He mentioned he's going to be here for the next 40 to 50 years.
Yeah, I wrote that down too.
Yeah, I was like, dude, that's awesome.
I know.
And another thing he said when he was talking like with his dad and brother. And I really like this one too, because you guys all know that when professional sports teams become available, it attracts all the whales out there, basically. The guy, the people with all the tons of money. and that, oh, it's cool to like go buy a professional sports team. I'm going to go buy this team. But he made it crystal clear that that's not how this went down. When the Suns became available, his brother and his dad, they said, this is the team. This is
Yep.
the team you want. Like, this is what we want. You can't take no for an answer.
Yeah.
And that made me like feel really good that he understands what we have here, the
Yeah.
history of the Phoenix Suns. You know, what are we, the fourth most winningest franchise in
Yeah.
NBA
Last time I
history?
checked. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. And we're one of the most winningest franchises in professional sports for that matter.
And the Mercury got 3 championships last time
Yeah.
I checked.
But we still don't have our championship. And to me, someone like Matt, knowing his history, knowing what he did at Michigan, being a walk on, starting up this mortgage company and making insane amount of money. This dude likes challenges. He likes being an
I got
underdog.
that vibe too. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, hey, you got this team that's been close, so close, you know? And what greater challenge to bring a championship to this organization that's been so close, right?
Right.
That's been sometimes cursed. You know, we could talk about, I'm sure you could have many episodes on the crazy stuff that's happened to the Suns throughout the years, throughout the history. And I just gotta imagine that there's so much excitement in
Yeah.
him to bring a championship here. Like this could be his greatest challenge
Right.
and the most defining thing he does, even more so than the mortgage company.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. That was pretty spot on. He also referenced, and I think you slightly touched on it, that this wasn't like, oh, I'm going to buy the Phoenix Suns. It's mine. He referenced, holy crap, the Suns and Mercury are available right now. I'm buying that. I'm excited. This is a dream city, dream opportunity. He said rich histories, if you will. That's pretty exciting stuff. Let me see what else I wrote down here. Ooh, this is interesting. And this sort of, I guess, can kind of end the Isaiah Thomas stuff. And, there's PR people, some social media people and all that. But he said when he brings people on, we're going to hear it from him first. Now, he'll probably pass that on to people. You get what I mean, though. I like that approach as well. I mean, that's a change of pace. You know what I mean? Especially coming from somebody who I don't want to mention, our former owner, I feel like that's a good thing. And I mean, think of like Monty Williams and how much of a, he likes to use the word connector, Monty Williams. It's like how passionate of a person he is. Think of James Jones. These guys really defend and love their players and their staff and their culture and the fans. I feel like that's going to be a good connection right there. And again, Suns fans, if you're just joining the show, like I really feel like Suns and Mercury fans should be super excited because this is an owner that is super passionate, knows what he's doing, obviously, is a bazillionaire and all that. But I'm praying, fingers crossed, that this is the man that can be here for 40 and 50 years, for the man that can lead us to a championships, and the Mercury as well. And, something we haven't mentioned here, and I just thought of this, and again, we can have this conversation another time. He said, I like the team we have right now. And that's another good way to approach it. And I reminded Suns fans yesterday, I was like, look, you guys, there's probably going to be a couple small moves. I feel like the offseason is key. And I feel like Mat Ishbia, like we've been talking about, he's going to evaluate things, check things out, roll up his sleeves, get very hands-on. Anything could happen during the offseason. So I guess where I'm going with that is like, it's not like Mat Ishbia is here and he's like, I don't believe in this team. Everybody's gone. Let's trade everybody for KD. I don't think that's the way he thinks, man. And again, he said, and I quote, like my brother Justin and I, Matt and I, we're fans at the end of the day. We want to win. I'm the what was the word? Steward of this basketball team. Yeah. Like, I like that. And it's kind of like how you referenced how you used to go like on trips and all that. And you were like there to evaluate and see what the problems were. You weren't there just to like grab your axe and fire people. It's not what Mat Ishbia is doing here. And I love that, man. Phoenix Suns fans, Mercury fans, you should be excited.
Absolutely. And, just to piggyback on what you said about the trades, and
Yeah.
obviously, yeah, dude, everyone's excited. It's
Trade
trade deadline
Kevin
week.
Durant.
I'm on Twitter all day.
Same here.
I'm on hoopshype.com, which is, EJ Eddie Johnson writes for him. He has for a long time. Great website, but they have all the latest rumors, and I'm always
Yeah,
on Hoops
they're
Hype.
on it. Yeah, they're good.
Yeah,
I like them.
always on there checking it out. But guy, we have to remember sometimes the best trade is no trade at all. And I'm going to reference something that should hit home with all of us. Okay, the Suns were first in the West when we traded Marion for Shaq. We wound up the 7 seed, playing the Spurs in the first round.
Yep.
Okay, went from first to 7th by making that trade. And if you remember, we made that trade. Part of the reason why is because, the rumor at the time was Marion was unhappy because he was kind of the third string guy because it went from, Steve and Sean to now Steve Amari and then Sean.
Yep.
He didn't get all the highlights. Amari was getting the highlight dunks, and he was just the more probably exciting player for Suns fans, right?
Right.
But that doesn't diminish what Marion did. But the thing is, we made that trade, and we had to live with the results.
Right.
And we could have. You guys never know. Had we kept Marion, what could have happened? We could have had a championship. We don't know. But that's why sometimes you keep that team together.
Yeah. And look, man, this kind of references. You remember when that whole Bucks package came out about Jordan Nwora, Serge about.
Yes.
James Jones was like, no, we're good on that. And then recently with Kyrie, man, yeah, the Suns did offer Chris Paul and Jay Crowder and picks, but that doesn't mean it was 110% official. And who knows? What if that trade did go down and that killed the next 5-6 years for us? You know what I mean? And yeah, like we all want KD, and I understand it's championship or bust. I get it, but you might be right, man. I mean, before Mat Ishbia came in, James Jones thought like that. He's like, we have a good team here.
Yep.
Now that doesn't mean there's, tweaks can't be, fixed or whatever, and player X can't go or whatever, but James Jones believes in this team, man. And that's why he hasn't been super active. And I understand the scouting's been bad. The drafts have been bad. I get that. But James Jones believes in this team. Was he? I hope he was there, by the way. I didn't see James Jones. Yeah, okay. Thank God.
Yeah, he was there. I saw him.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, that would have been bad, right?
Yeah, that would have been. I would have been nervous. We probably would have spent an hour talking about that. But I don't know, man.
I think Junior's safe. But you mentioned about the Bucks trade, and first off, I'm glad we haven't made the trade.
Right.
If I'm being perfectly honest on what I think, if we were to take a step into James Jones's mind here,
yeah,
I really believe he does not want to trade Jay to Milwaukee because in his heart of hearts, he believes we can get back to the finals this year. He's not going to come out and say it and be boisterous about it, okay? But I think in his heart of hearts, he's like, there's no way in hell I'm going to give the team that I think we can play in the finals, Jay Crowder, and give away all of our secrets, all of our plays. As a competitor, especially on James's level, he's not just an executive. He's not just the GM.
Right.
He played in the NBA. We know how competitive Junior is.
Right.
So in my mind, that's his mindset. Not everyone's going to get that, but I think that's what it is. I get it. And I wouldn't trade him either. Not for that.
Absolutely.
You might as well just let him sit, because if you do that, you make your opponent, possibly your ultimate one, if we're going to get to the finals, make them better.
Yep.
You don't want to play that in a 7-game series when they know your plays.
I was kind of having this conversation the past couple days. I'm like, the problem is, I mean, yeah, like Jay Crowder's kind of the problem. Well, I mean, his contract is, he's on an expiring deal, but you don't want to trade him to a competitor. You don't really want to trade him to like a Western Conference, playoff team or whatever. But also the problem is he's not going to go to a rebuilding team either. That's where James Jones gets paid the millions of dollars to figure this stuff out. I guarantee you for months now, weeks, he's probably been on the phones being very aggressive. And I don't know if you agree with me on this. And my subscribers have heard me say this so much. I truly believe James Jones is going to wait till the final minute to make a deal or deals. You know what I mean? Because that's what you should do. Kind of like Mat Ishbia. You're going to listen. You're going to evaluate trades. You're going to receive packages and everything. That's probably what's going to happen, man. That's how I look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Putting on my GM hat, if you will. I don't know,
without
man.
a doubt.
Yeah.
He's waiting till the last minute because we're not in a position, guys, of desperation. Okay.
Preach.
Last I checked, what are we a game and a half back of the Sacramento Queens for the 3 seed?
Yeah, it's so flip floppy.
I know it changes every day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I tell you, I look at this every day.
Same
I look at the scores every night.
It's hard
just
though,
because
man,
I hope
the
the West
standings,
loses.
Yeah, but like the standings are going up and down. Like it's this year's different with standings. You know what I mean? It's like every day there's a different, seed, and this team falls to 10 or whatever. I don't know.
Game and a half. Game and a half behind Sacramento. We're a half game behind the Clips. And if we want to look even further, I mean, we're only 4 games back on Memphis. Memphis is 2-8 in their last 10. We're 8-2 in our last 10.
Yep. Nine
we're going in the right direction.
11. Yep. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Real quick, do you have any final, not that we're like ending the show or anything, but do you have any like final quotes that really stood out to you? Because you obviously took a lot more quotes than I did. Any final like takeaways, quotes from the Mat Ishbia press conference? Is there anything you would like to discuss? I mean, we can keep going here, but anything that you wrote down that really stood out to you? Because I wrote down as much as I possibly could. I kind of went over everything I wanted to in terms of the press conference itself. We can move on to the other stuff as well, but any final thoughts or quotes?
Yeah, I got some here. There's actually 2 here, but he said it's going to be a we show.
Yep.
And not an I show. He said, I already got great leadership in charge. And he said, knowledge creates confidence and confidence creates success. Now think about that, right? Think about that in your life. Wherever you work, whatever you do, you're most confident about the things that you're most knowledgeable about and that you can clearly speak about, right? You don't even have to think about it. And when you're confident, you're going to have success.
Preach.
Very true. And another thing he said was money follows success, not the other way around. So chase success and you'll get the money. Chase money and you won't be successful. And I'll tell you what, I've lived that. I've seen this.
Right. Absolutely.
I've seen it play out. Just do the right thing. Take care of people.
Preach.
Be a good human. Everything will work out.
Exactly.
Money will find its way.
Absolutely. 110%, man. I'm sorry. I have to address a comment real quick. I thought it was funny. Suns Geek skipping work to provide content, real ones. First off, I won't spend too much time on this. It's a part-time job, like I mentioned. This is my full-time job or hobby or whatever you want to call it. Suns Geek always comes first. The Suns always come first. I mean, I've always said real life comes first, but let's be real. Phoenix Suns for life, man. Win or lose, doesn't matter. I'm always going to be here. And this is a fan channel. I've had conversations with you and some other people that like this is a channel for the fans. And before we move on to whatever other topics we want to discuss, if you guys do want to join the show at some point, give your thoughts for a couple of minutes. I'll post the invite link. You guys are welcome to do that. So really, man, do you want to talk about the trade deadline? Do you want to talk about what your vision is for the Suns or what you want to see the Suns do? You kind of get my drift there while we're waiting for some people to join. They can give their thoughts about the press conference or whatever the case may be. What are you thinking, man? Sorry to put you on the spot, but
oh no, you know what? I'd love to discuss the trade deadline. I mean, that's the topic this week, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're all excited about.
I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight. It's going to be like Christmas. I'm going to wake up early, drink tons of coffee, It's gonna be a great day tomorrow, man.
Yeah, it really is. And I'm scrolling through Hoops Hype because of course like things change. Things could
Absolutely.
have changed from the time that we all watched the press conference to right now.
Yeah.
And I'm looking here. It says the Bucks have expressed trade interest in New York's former MVP Derrick Rose. But it says the Bucks, of course, have been chasing a trade for Phoenix's Jay Crowder for months and are also regarded as a team with interest in Knicks' Cam Reddish, which Cam Reddish has a lot of upside. If
Yes.
he gets on the right team,
Yep.
like he kind of needs to be with the right manager or coach in order to be utilized. I mean,
Absolutely.
how many guys have we brought over to Phoenix that didn't have a prominent role and we utilized them here? And the same could be said in the business world too, because I've seen it play out numerous times. But
Absolutely.
you know, I wonder too if there's a lot of interest in Jay.
Yeah.
And,
Absolutely.
maybe teams aren't being as forthcoming, because obviously they want to hold that in, right? They don't want to know exactly all of us to know how interested they are in Jay. But you got to wonder if maybe we're gonna get a third team involved.
Right. No, I could see that. And have you ever seen the movie Draft Day with Kevin Costner?
Yeah.
I was talking to my friend DJ Ocho about this last night because we're huge fans of that movie. And pretty much it's like, in the movie, there's a quote where he's like, "We live in a completely different world than 30 seconds ago. Like anything could happen at the deadline, man. Trades are gonna be flying in, phone calls are gonna be flying in, rumors. I feel like things are gonna be a little quiet for right now. And maybe around noon-ish tomorrow, that's when things are really gonna start heating up. Before we get some other guests in here, Steve, I'm just going to straight up ask you, should we trade for Kevin Durant? Putting you on the spot.
Yeah, and that's fine. Obviously, I've thought about this for a long time now, as I'm sure all of us have. Probably more than I should have. But Brandon, the answer is if the price is right.
Yep.
Okay. To quote Bill Barker, or no, Bill. What am I saying? Bob Barker.
Bob Barker. Yeah.
If the price is right, but then we have to ask, what is the price? What is the right price, guys? Who is it? Who are you willing
To
to
sacrifice.
part ways with?
Mm-hmm.
Whose future are you willing to not see in a Suns uniform? Because I mean, the guys that have been discussed, I think we all believe that there's a very bright future there with McHale, with Cam Johnson. And I think the consensus for a lot of Suns fans is that McHale is a hell no. No way, right?
Yeah.
There's no way we get rid of McHale.
Right.
Not the warden. But there seems to be, it's not the same with Cam. There's still a lot of love there. A lot of love for me there too.
I'm one of his biggest supporters. I love Cam Johnson, man.
And we got to remember that's James Jones's guy. He caught a lot of flack for picking Cam Johnson. You guys remember that, right?
Absolutely.
Everyone was clowning on the Suns for picking,
especially
this quote, old guy who can't jump.
Yeah. They were criticizing it. They thought we were the worst team in basketball and another stupid Suns mistake, yada, yada, yada. And look, we got pretty much 2 for 1 in that deal. So we got Dario Saric.
Yep.
Pretty awesome.
And Dario's name obviously has been thrown around a lot with trades. But damn, he's starting to look good. And he played great over the summer.
Mm-hmm.
We all saw that, right? What was it, the FIBA? Was it FIBA?
The Euro basket tournament. I always reference that too, because I actually woke up early for some of those games and watched them. I was like, dude, not only is Dario healthy, but he's playing in front of millions of people in a completely different country. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
super Dario. That's all I got to say.
Exactly. And he's coming back to form. And Dario's actually really important right now because I think what everyone I just want to throw this out there and make sure everyone kind of gets it is with Jay Crowder, obviously Jay would miss a lot of shots sometimes, okay? And he would take a lot of threes. And a lot of people would get mad. It's guys, you have to understand that is the game plan. Jay has to take the shots, whether he wants to or not, because that's how we extend the defense out to the perimeter. That's how we can open up the middle for Book to get in there. And, 6'1" Chris Paul, who's he's a very short point guard in today's NBA at his age. We're the same age.
Right.
I'm hours away from his birthday. We're both 37.
Yep.
And I still play basketball. And you know what? When I play, I'm sore for 4 or 5 days after, and it sucks. Okay. But what I'm saying is we needed Jay to extend the defense. Jay's not with us anymore. Who's doing it now? Well, Jock. So you might want to ask that same question. Why is Jock shooting so many threes? We need him to. We need the other teams to respect his outside shot to open up the middle. That's part of our offensive scheme. And so originally, who did that for us? Dario, before he got injured.
The connector.
So, exactly. So it's hey, man, he's better now. He's healthy. Can he make an impact more than somebody else? I mean, he knows all the plays. You got to remember, when you bring people in, this isn't the 7 seconds or less era. Okay, this isn't
we actually
give Steve the ball and he'll find you era.
Exactly. Yep.
We actually have plays now. We actually can run a half-court offense and be successful in the playoffs, which was very hard for us during the 7 seconds era, because all we did was run and gun. And when we got into the playoffs, it's nah, dude, you got to run some half-court sets.
Live by the 3, die by the 3.
Yeah. So, Dario was one of those names where it's I wouldn't mind parting ways if it was for somebody who could make an impact on our team. But now I'm even starting to think I don't know, Dario's been good, but Landry, what's up with Landry? How long is he going to be out for?
Something just real quick. Lots of quote injuries. Some of them seem a little suspect, if you will, or as the kids say, sus. It's and I'm not saying he's not injured, dude. Let's be real. You've had injuries. I've had 2 shoulder injuries in 4 years. They suck, man. Sometimes these things do linger, Devin Booker. And but it's and really this goes for the entire NBA. A lot of players are questionable for tonight's game, or they're sitting out because of injury X or illness X. It's weird, dude. And that's why I'm I don't know if you've seen, I've been checking my phone while you've been talking, just keeping updated just in case anything drops. And it's unpredictable. The deadline's unpredictable. Whatever James Jones and his team are going to do, Mat Ishbia, we can actually officially say that now. Mat Ishbia, James Jones and his team, whatever they're going to do, it's unpredictable. Stay glued to your phones. I guess what we're going to do here, Steve, is we're going to bring on a couple of guests. If you guys want to join the show, give your thoughts for a couple of minutes. And then you and I will give our final thoughts once we get our guests on. Thank you to everybody that's in here. We got over 100 people. Destroy that like button. If you guys want to join the show, I'll post the link one more time in the chat. All you got to do is click it, connect your phone, whatever you have. We're going to bring on someone who's been supporting this channel for a long time. Metal Mike, he's in the chat a lot, leaving great comments and everything. Someone I've engaged with a lot. Metal Mike, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, dude. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear. How you doing, man?
Good to be on with you, man. It's awesome.
I know, man. Finally, man.
A little bit of a dream come true right here.
I'm flattered by that, man. Metal Mike, I'm going to put you on the spot, man. Do you have any takeaways from Mat Ishbia's press conference? Any trade deadline thoughts? You got a couple minutes here. What are you thinking, man?
Sure, man. I can give my thoughts on the Suns. I was actually jumping on YouTube to go watch that press conference or go find it.
Yeah.
But then I saw you streaming, so, got to give the Suns Geek first. I knew you guys would summarize it. Kind of helped me out.
Thanks.
I definitely liked what you guys were saying. I definitely agree with all that management stuff you guys were saying. Managers should definitely be willing to do anything an employee is willing to do. I try to take that approach as my management style when I was doing some managing. And yeah, it seemed to provide the best results. Your team members will know, but you have their back, and that, yeah, like you just said, you're willing to do anything they're willing to do.
Scrub toilets, push
Yeah.
the carts. Yeah.
Yeah, and most of that stuff was the custodial, and helping people take a garbage out at the end of the night, and I'm not above that because I'm a manager, and hey, and really it helps get the employees out sooner, so we're not paying them as much, really. So it kind of benefits everybody in that way.
Win-win.
Yeah, exactly. I still got to watch that press conference, but I love everything.
It's good, man. You'll
so
get
far.
a kick out of it. It's very inspiring. I might go watch it again after this.
It definitely seems to be. As far as like trade deadline and stuff, I'd have to agree with I'm not sure his name, but I love the stash. But I'd have to agree with
Steve, my guy Thunder Steve
Thanks,
here.
There we go. I'd have to agree with everything he said. Pretty much to me, my untouchables are Booker, Ayton, and McHale. I think we can literally build any sort of winning team around those three. So as much as I love Cam Johnson, as much as I love everybody on this team, and I want to say run it back, I think we've kind of had that happen before. We've seen that result. And I'm a firm believer in there is no same season happening twice. Like every year is different. Every year people get worse. Every year people get better, So it's very hard for me to compare and say, no, we can't run it back or can't run it back again with the same people. But I do believe, like, if we can get a KD, it's so hard not to. I just don't see that happening with him signing the extension over there and the Nets and stuff. But I don't know. But pretty much to me, my untouchables are McHale, Ayton, and Booker, I'd say. Everybody else, like, we got to do what we got to do. If we can get a KD or a caliber that level, I would say.
Absolutely. 100. Yeah, you're pretty spot on there, man. Definitely got to get you back on the show sometime in the future, Metal Mike. Thanks for being here, man. Go watch that press conference. Seriously, man, it's inspiring stuff.
After your stream's done, I'll go watch it. I ain't gonna move until then.
You're a real one, Metal Mike. Seriously, I appreciate you always in the streams and commenting on the videos. You're a real one, man. I appreciate you.
I love you guys.
Yep. Have a good one, man. Take care.
Take it easy.
Metal Mike joining the show, longtime supporter and fan of the channel. Appreciate that. Guys, if you want to join the show for a couple minutes, give your thoughts. The link is in the chat. Just click it, connect your whatever you have, mic, webcam, phone, whatever it is. Steve, this has been a pretty great show, man. You saved me on a lot of great parts, especially with like since you actually have experience in Mat Ishbia's business and just the way that you took way more quotes than I did. You're a true professional at this, Steve, and you saved me. This is an excellent show, man.
Hey, thanks, man. I appreciated it. It wasn't too hard, honestly, because like I said, like a lot of what Matt said just like really hit home.
Hit home. Yep.
Like this is what they did. This is what we did at Loan Depot. That was the philosophy, is that you hire the best people. And we looked at things like that. We looked at, the attitude, the controllables, as I've always called them.
He mentioned attitude. Yeah.
Yeah. Because in this life, guys, this applies to everything, is that you have a set of controllables every day, right? You can control when you wake up, believe it or not. You can set an alarm and mind over matter, and you can wake up at that time if you want to. It's all about if you want to, but the things you can control, right, every single day that'll make a difference in your life are your attitude and your effort. There's a lot of external things that you cannot control. You can't control what happens out on the road, right?
Right.
You can't control what happens at the grocery store or at work or how people are going to act. You can't control so many things. There's actually very few things you can control. The two most important, attitude and effort.
Yeah.
And he knows that. And I'm thankful that he knows that, because it's like, perfect, man. This is the kind of person we need.
Look, man, this is a off the Suns conversation. This is like a personal thing. It took me years to learn what you just said, and I'm still practicing it and learning it, that I can't control everything and I need to control my own attitude. And it's like the way I look at it, the way I'm still practicing things, even when it comes to this YouTube stuff, I'm like, I don't care what my mood is. I gotta put in the work and do this YouTube channel. I gotta go live. I gotta make a reaction video. I gotta put up my son's Twitter series, whatever it is. Doesn't matter what the mood is. I gotta have a good attitude, because I know this stuff is paying off. But even when I'm at my work, which in a little bit here, I'm going to go to my part-time job. And it's like, you know how they say leave your problems at the door? I believe in that to an extent, but it's like, especially when you're working with kids, you got to have a great attitude. You got to be locked in. And again, that's kind of some more personal stuff. We're getting metaphorical here, if you will. And again, man, this has just been an excellent show. I don't really know if anybody else is going to be joining us. Again, the link's in the chat. If you guys want to join us, we can probably go for 5 more minutes, man. Talk about whatever you'd like. We can talk about some other NBA stuff. This has been a great show, Steve. Like, seriously, you and I have been friends for a very long time. And I truly do appreciate your friendship, man. I've always wanted to get you on this channel, but real life comes first. We both get busy. We both have our own lives. You've been killing it with your streaming, man, and your content creation. When you told me that you were going to be doing that, man, I was like, dude, finally, like a friend of mine who's on YouTube and kind of gets what I'm doing. And you've been putting in the work with like OBS or whatever streaming platform you've been using.
It's a lot to learn.
Yeah, that's something I kind of want to practice and learn because it would make these live shows better. But you're putting in the work, man. That's all I got to say.
Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it. It has been a lot of work, and there's just a lot to learn. And, the older you get, the harder it can be, especially when it comes to tech. But with that said, I've always been like the tech guy. By default, I guess. I don't know if it's the glasses or what, but people think I can like fix stuff on their computer and like every job I've worked at. But doing YouTube, get everything dialed in, doing the camera work, the audio work. There's actually a lot. Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. And I have an immense amount of respect for people that actually do YouTube for what you do with going live, on a whim, man. Right. That's important. And it's not easy. It's not easy, dude. It is a job, believe it or not. But it's a great job to be able to talk hoops.
Just real quick, I was just responding to Kenyon Perry, another supporter of the channel, says, what's the name of his YouTube channel? Thunder Steve 85, correct?
Yeah, Thunder Steve 85.
Yes, sir. Everyone go check it out, you guys. Of course. I mean, you've been a big part of this show today. You've really helped me out more than you know, especially with you taking down all those quotes. So I got to give you your flowers and let people know where to find you. You're on, Thanks, I know you're not the biggest social media guy, but I know you're on Instagram and Twitter and all that. It's Thunder Steve 85, right?
Yeah, it's Thunder Steve 85 across the board. And when it comes to the social media, I'm working on it. You guys got to understand that for the last 18 years, okay, I'm 37. So from 19 to a few months ago, I was managing.
Exactly.
And I truly believe in leading by example, meaning I wasn't on my phone.
Yeah, you weren't glued to your phone talking to your employees. Yeah.
I was helping bus tables. I was helping the cooks on the food line to keep ticket times down. In mortgage, I was rarely at my desk because I'm like literally rolling up my sleeves and helping people. So I wasn't on my phone. I had to say no.
Yep.
I made that decision to say no to social media because if I did, I thought I'm going to fall into a trap. I'm not going to be productive. I got people who are counting on me to help them. And so I just took it real serious. And so now here we are, transitioning now to doing YouTube and doing what I've always wanted to do. And so as time goes on, I'll become more present on social media.
Don't beat yourself up too much, man, because I thought TikTok was, the cliche dancing app and it was for the younger generation. And then I started getting on TikTok. First off, I know that TikTok has its controversies and all that, but I have discovered some great creators who've inspired me. And now I guess I'm sort of a TikToker now because I do my little reacting to Suns Twitter series and I'll upload random rants or thoughts about the Suns in certain videos. And I guess where I'm going with this is that social media can be a lot of fun if you go about it the right way. And follow Thunder Steve everywhere, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. He's streaming. Dude, sometimes your streams go for hours and I love it, man. And I really respect your work ethic and your effort. And again, man, I cannot thank you a million times just for being here. And any final thoughts, any takeaways before we get out of here? Just on anything, like anything you're thinking, Mat Ishbia, KD, trade deadline, Phoenix Suns in general?
I feel very good
Same here.
about where we are. I was at game 7 against the Mavs.
Oh,
Let me tell you guys, I didn't have to think long about what that game felt like. It immediately came to me. The energy in there was lifeless, dude. It literally felt like we were at a funeral. That's what it felt like. And it was draining. It was a seriously, it was a really bad experience. And
Oh, yeah.
I've had a
can't
lot of
imagine.
people say, well, oh, you got to go to a Suns game. Yeah, it's not that,
game.
dude. Yeah, I'm grateful that I was able to, have the money to be able to buy tickets and go. Sure. But, I'm a lifelong Suns fan, and we've been through a lot of trauma. We all know that.
Yeah.
And we all know that the good times like this don't last forever. And we'd like it to. I mean, Matt seems like he really wants us to be an elite organization. And, again, I got to bring up a team Brandon brought up at the Spurs, right? They've always been.
You hate
there
to
was a
do it,
time-
but they deserve the mention. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when he was saying that basically we want to be like this elite class franchise, all I could think of was he's probably on that Spurs train. Like he wants us to be that franchise that's looked at that way, and we should be.
Absolutely.
Again, we're the 4th most winningest franchise.
Yep.
You got to work at that. Look at our Ring of Honor. Look at the guys we have. They all
Look at the
still live
legends
here.
on my wall. Let me zoom out a little bit here on the screen. Look at the legends here, man. Thunder Dan, KJ, Connie Hawkins, Dick Van Arsdale, Alvin Adams, who Alvin Adams was there, by the way. So many Suns legends. Al McCoy. I could go on. Steve Nash. So many legends. Don't look at that. Don't look at that t-shirt right there, though.
The next time we do this, I'll do it behind my Phoenix Suns wall.
Yeah, you got an epic one, man. I mean, I haven't seen it in a while, but I remember some of your old Suns walls from back in the day.
Yeah, it's still there, and more has been added, and the girlfriend probably doesn't want me to keep adding to it, but you gotta.
Steve, great show, man. My final thoughts are just Suns fans, Phoenix Mercury fans, heck, Arizona fans. Let's be real. Yeah. Everybody should be excited. And the press conference was like 30 minutes. Just go listen to it. Fast forward to when Mat Ishbia actually gets up there. Just listen to what he's saying. And guys, look, maybe I'm just super biased here. And maybe I'm a little too, I don't know if arrogant's the right word for my own fandom, but believe in the Phoenix Suns. Trust in the Phoenix Suns. Believe in James Jones and Monty Williams. Yes, they have their faults. So do I. We're all human. We all make mistakes. As you mentioned, Steve, before we get out of here, earlier in the show, you were like, the Phoenix Suns are always there. They're always there for us. NBA basketball is always there. This is my favorite sport of all time. Even though I cover the Phoenix Suns and everything, I try to stay involved with what every single team's doing. I love basketball. I love watching it. Before I got hurt, I loved playing it. Believe in the Phoenix Suns. Trust in James Jones. Trust in Mat Ishbia. We can actually say that now. We can actually say believe in our new owner, our new governor, Mat Ishbia, the man of the hour. That's all I wanted to say. Everybody have a great, blessed, safe day. If you're watching this later, destroy that like button. Subscribe to Suns Geek. Go check out my guy, Thunder Steve. It's right there somewhere. He does gaming videos, streaming, all that stuff. He's just getting started. Go sub up to him. Follow him on social. And you guys,
thanks,
of course, man. Thank you. Seriously, like you saved me here, man. All I wanted to say too was before we get out of here, I'm going to try to go to bed early. I never sleep. I'm a night owl. Try to go to bed early. You're probably going to get multiple streams tomorrow. And heck, Steve, if you're available and you want to hop on for a little bit tomorrow, you are totally invited. But definitely going to have a trade deadline. Definitely going to have a trade deadline live stream. And then the Suns play the Hawks that night. Who knows if our roster is going to look the same or not. So 2 streams tomorrow. It's going to be a crazy, busy, fun day. I have the whole day off. Super excited. And I love you guys. Thanks for everybody that is being here. And we'll see you tomorrow, Suns fans. Exciting day. Phoenix Suns for life, and go Suns.